Wayne LaPierre, Executive Vice President and CEO of the National Rifle Association. Thank you, sir, for coming in today.
Good to be with you, Cam.
Now, I heard earlier today that the National Rifle Association is coming out in opposition to the nomination of Elena Kagan to the Supreme Court.
We sure have. I mean, we announced today that we're in opposition to her. It's a vote that matters, and we are urging every senator to vote against her. We don't want her anywhere near the Supreme Court.
Now, I know that earlier this week you had said that you wanted to wait and see what the confirmation process entailed before you made any announcement. What are your thoughts on Elena Kagan's testimony during the confirmation hearings?
You know, I shake my head at the whole confirmation hearing process. I mean, it's become a play. I mean, it's become a scripted play. I mean, they use words like settled law. I mean, what settled law means, it deceives the American public, to tell you the truth. The American public, it sounds like, if she says the Second Amendment is settled law, it sounds like, okay, that's it, we're moving on, there's a Second Amendment individual right. And yet the truth is, what it is scripted code for, I'm going to get through the day, get on to nightfall, move on, and what it really means is, I'm not giving you an answer, and when I get on the Supreme Court, I'm going to nuke the Second Amendment, and I'm going to destroy the individual right. And we learned that with Sotomayor. Sotomayor gave exactly the same answer in regard to the Heller case. It's settled law. And the country thinks, well, maybe she's pro-Second Amendment individual right. And yet Sotomayor gets on the Supreme Court, and her first vote, she votes to gut the Second Amendment as an individual right and says it only applies to the government. I mean, it's all become a deceit on the American public. I mean, it's these parsed sentences that don't really say anything. They just say enough to deceive the American public and get through the day. And I mean, it's why people are so cynical of what's going on in Washington, D.C. these days.
So looking outside of the confirmation hearings then at Elena Kagan's history, I'm guessing that played a big role then in the NRA's determination to formally oppose her nomination, her work in the Clinton administration?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, her only record is a political record. She has no judicial record at all. And her lifetime political record is one of wreckage to the Second Amendment. It's a horrible record on the Second Amendment as an individual right. It's everything from bans to the federal government retaining lists on law-abiding gun owners to not defending the Second Amendment as an individual right. I mean, it's one vote of wreckage or position of wreckage after the other in terms of the Second Amendment as an individual right for American citizens. And based on her lifetime political record, which couldn't be any worse, it's basically the Clinton administration's record, one of the worst anti-Second Amendment presidents in U.S. history. And based on that lifetime political record, we are urging every senator to vote against her.
You know, and I'm sure, Wayne, that there are going to be a lot of Washington insiders who say, Wayne, come on, she's replacing Justice Stevens, you're getting rid of one anti-gunner and you're putting another anti-gunner in his place. What's your response to that?
Hey, I mean, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, and so is NRA. I don't want one anti-Second Amendment judge on any court anywhere. And the NRA, regardless of what court they're up for, if they're opposed to the Second Amendment, the individual right of American citizens to own firearms for self-protection or any other lawful purpose, we're going to oppose them.
Okay. So when you are formally opposing the nomination, you're telling these senators we want you to vote against the nomination. We're going to score this vote. What does that mean? Explain to the members and other listeners how this process works.
Well, that means we want you to vote against it. That's our position. We're going to score the vote. It means it matters. And it means when you're coming up for re-election, this is going to count. And that's exactly what it means.
The NRA, one of the first organizations that I've seen to come out and formally oppose Elena Kagan. Why was it important that the NRA took this step today?
Well, I wanted to get the voice out there. I mean, we listened to what happened during the week, and as soon as we have a chance, I wanted us to be out front telling every American citizen, I hope you'll join with us, write your senators, call your senators, and urge them to oppose this nomination. I mean, the individual right of personal protection, the individual right to own a firearm, it's a God-given right. I mean, our founding fathers simply validated it when they put it in the Bill of Rights. It's one of the very core beliefs of American citizens in this country, at the very core of their consciousness. And someone that opposes those rights is so far out of the mainstream and so extreme, they should not be on the Supreme Court of the United States or any other court.